one of my greatest passions has been watching the mortgage process develop, and UWM being a very big part of that, of like, how do we take out some of the friction of this like archaic, kind of dinosaur model that just moves so slowly, right? How do we make things faster, easier, cheaper, less complex?
Welcome to Powerhouse, where we interview the biggest names in housing and ask them about their strategy for growth. I'm Diego Sanchez, president of HousingWire, and my guest today is Melinda Wilner, COO of United Wholesale Mortgage. Melinda, it's so great to have you on the show.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, me too. Before we dive in, could you briefly introduce yourself and your role at UWM?
Absolutely. So Melinda Wilner, Chief Operating Officer of UWM, have been here for about 13 years, and I oversee our IT teams, our underwriting teams, and our non-underwriting operations teams. And prior to my coming here, I was 12 years as a mortgage broker too. So a long history in housing and mortgage, and it's been a heck of a ride.
So you've been in the wholesale channel for a long time.
Yes, except one tiny blip. I had a little wholesale company who switched over to retail, and then it moved back. So
how do you and Matt Ishbia, the CEO of UWM, divide up the executive responsibilities? You gave us a little bit of that in your intro, but how do you divvy things up?
Yeah, no, good question. Obviously, we've been together for 13 years. It's a long time, especially with somebody like Matt who runs real fast paced, and it's been a great ride for sure. So, Matt does a great job. One of his main skills is being able to develop a team and develop team members. And when I first started, we spent a lot of time together, just like I do, trying to develop any leader under me. But he does a very good job of kind of allocating team and hiring experts and letting them run with it. And it's been a heck of a ride. So I have about 80% of the company goes through me, and he gets the other 20%, obviously 100% overall, but he gives me the hard, big part.
Yeah, that sounds similar to the partnership that Clayton Collins, our CEO, and I have. So a lot of the day-to-day flows through me, but ultimately he's responsible for all of it. So UWM became the top originator in the US in 2022. Yep. And you've held on to that title despite really tough competition and also a difficult housing market. How have you been able to grow market share over these years where a lot of lenders have either plateaued or even shrunk, and some have even gone away?
Yeah, it's a good question. And honestly, it's even before the last few years, our focus has always been on wholesale, growing the wholesale channel, enabling brokers to give borrowers amazing deals and an amazing experience that keeps them coming back for more. So over, the past few years, honestly, we just kept doing more of the same that we did the prior years. We expanded our product line a little. We got a lot of feedback from our brokers of, hey, I want to keep this loan in the wholesale channel, and I need for them to have a really good experience, but I don't always have that great experience with different wholesale lenders that are out there. Will you please expand your product box out some, which we did a little bit of that over the last couple of years. But honestly, it's just been that constant focus of trying to get better every day, trying to grow that wholesale channel and make sure that their experience and their consumers, borrowers' experience is great. So it's just, put your head down, keep focused on doing things right, and success comes from there.
Let's talk a little bit more about that product set, because
Sure.
We've been in a higher for longer mortgage rate environment longer than anyone would like. And it seems like we are going to be there for a while longer. Yeah. And in this kind of environment, you kind of need to go outside the traditional products. And so you see, some of the non-QM lenders, gaining market share. Yeah. Have you thought more about non-QM at UWM?
Well, we have a couple of products. So we have a bank statement, DSCR type there. But I mean, honestly, it's really a drop in the bucket overall of what we do. The high majority of our mortgages are conventional, a good amount of government. And then the non-QM space, it's some loans. It's a great fit for some people, but it's not our primary. But again, it's like, we don't want our brokers didn't want to take it where they have a bad experience and then, hey, I'm done with that broker because I didn't love doing it. So it was really hey, UWM, we want it. These these are the two products that we need the most. Can you please start doing them? So we were always very much, down the fairway for years, probably the first 10 years that I've been here, it was always like, no, let's just focus on this. And after that feedback, and again, it really goes back to our goal of continuing to keep wholesale loans inside of wholesale and make sure that they don't go out to retail. But that was really the push behind the products. It wasn't like, oh wow, we need to close many more loans, so let's open up these two products, because again, it's kind of a drop in the bucket overall of our business.
And what about jumbo and home equity, which are other areas that people are pretty active in right now?
Those are there too. So yeah, we've been a jumbo space first, and then open up those more traditional non-QMs a little bit later down. But it's been successful, and I never thought that I would hear this from anybody where they're like, "You're the best at non-QM." I'm like, it's not even. It wasn't even our intention. Like, we never came out as we're the non-QM lender, like you were referring to earlier. That hey, they're growing some market share in there too. But it's great to be able to take our UWM process and make sure that regardless of the loan product, the loan type, that the brokers are still enjoying a wonderful process and they want to come back here. So that's my job as the COO, to make sure that we're underwriting and closing great loans, and that we do it with a level of service that the brokers fall in love with us and bring back the next one. And that's our focus, always has been.
So I've interviewed a bunch of executives in the wholesale channel over the past 3 or 4 months, and my sense is competition is increasing in wholesale in 2025. But I'd love your perspective on that. How does UWM plan to stay on top this year?
You know what? I don't even think about entrance to the space. What we have done has been, I don't know, holistic, innate. I don't know what the right word for it is, but I really don't fear anybody coming into the marketplace to do it. I think we care more than anybody. I think we do it best. I think with our culture of continually improving and hiring great people, and we're, just a fun place to do business with. Like, I don't even think anybody could come in and touch much for a very long time, let alone our technology and our process. Like, we've been investing for years in our kind of proprietary systems, our tools that we have out there. It would be really hard for somebody to come in and be as great as UWM is. So we focus, we care, we put our head down, we work, we try and figure out how to improve every day. I don't really care who comes into it. Like, really not that worried about it, because we're doing our thing, and it's shown that it works over these years, and brokers are loving it. So let them come in. Yeah, we're a good competitive group, if you haven't noticed.
Yeah, no, I can tell that you're pretty competitive. Really, the way that you compete in wholesale, there's kind of 3 variables. There's rate, there's tech, and there's service. And speed to close is kind of in between tech and service. Yeah. Tell me about how you look at those 3 variables when you think about being the best in wholesale.
Yeah, no, it's a great question. I think they're all important. I mean, it's no fun to have something that's cheap with horrible service. It's no fun to have something that is kind of taking you backwards in speed or technology. Like, time, I think, I know it is for me, and I believe this for any salesperson, any executive. Time's the most important and limited resource that we have. So, hey, yes, maybe when you do that cost structure, when you think how much time and effort you put into doing one loan with a lender that doesn't perform so well. Like, I've often heard brokers tell me that they can get, true like hands-on file time with far less hurdles and far less complexity. They can get, 3 to 5 more loans done here versus one loan there. Mm-hmm. And, again, you can say time is money, time is limited, whatever it is. But the quicker we're able to do our jobs, the more of our job that we can do, is the way that I look at it. So it's the all-in ball of experience. You can't take just one of those things and be great at just one of them. You got to look at them all, and it's a total package deal.
I interviewed Jason Bressler, your CTO, a couple weeks ago. Really great conversation. And I love how much UWM invests in technology. And you're not just partnering, like, you're building almost all of it, if not all of it, yourself.
That's right.
Why did you go down that path? Because it's an expensive path. I get that you own everything, but it can be an expensive path.
Yeah, it's a great question. It started a long, long time ago. We now have 1,800 people in our technology team, which is bigger than most true technology
It's
teams
huge.
or contractors. It is huge, and honestly, I think it's well known that we move fast and we roll out a lot and develop a lot. And if we were, hand bound to some vendor who doesn't move as fast, who doesn't care as much as we do, or who has other clients that they need to please, we wouldn't be anywhere close to where we are today. Like that's definitely been one of our superpowers in there for sure. So it's not just control, and that's a great big aspect of it too, but it's speed and care and time to delivery. I mean, there's days on a Sunday night, there's a thought like, hey, can we do this? And it's like, let's try and do it by Wednesday. Like that's our UWM culture here. So getting a vendor, they would say, oh no, that's going to take, 2 quarters or 6 months, or my next rollout isn't for 3 quarters from now. So that's been a total win. Obviously the innovation that comes along with that too, to have 1,800 people that are focused on technology, plus all of our other team members constantly thinking through great ideas, our brokers giving us great ideas and being able to execute on those quickly and make an impact tomorrow. That's what we're all about.
So you talked about your competitive drive at UWM before, and I love it. I love good competition. In 2021, you delivered the all-in agreement to mortgage brokers, which at the time required brokers to stop working with Rocket and Fairway if they wanted to keep working with UWM. Do you, in light of your desire to compete, do you think all-in still has its place in the wholesale channel?
I do. And honestly, I mean, I don't look at that as a competition play. I look at that as a protection of the wholesale broker channel as a whole. We have been strictly wholesale for a long time. I don't think anybody anywhere who has ever used us could say that we don't care about wholesale. It wasn't let's get all these loans. It's like, hey, brokers, stop sending loans to places where they're going to take them, or where they're a direct competitor with you. Even if it's, hey, they have this one product, like it's not worth it. So the way that we all looked at that years ago was it's been our, self-ordained job to help protect the broker channel, to make it an amazing community, to help it grow. That's what we've all been about. So, hey, if there's things that come into the market or come into play that we know are going to impact our brokers in the wholesale channel in a negative way, we will step up to the plate and help them. And, we're large and we've got pull, and we're going to be there to protect them, because I can't say that anybody else out there is out there to protect them in that channel as much as we are.
So just a follow-up question on that. Yeah. Why not let the brokers themselves make that call? So if they think that a player in the wholesale channel is doing things that aren't right by the wholesale channel, they just don't send their loans to them. Why not let them make that decision?
Sometimes we know more than they might know. I think we watch everything that happens. I can't guarantee that every mom and pop shop really understand what's going on behind the scenes. I mean, I think it was a lot of, I sent my loan here, and they started soliciting my borrower the very next day after I closed the loan. Like that's what a lot of these companies were then. I can't say what they are now. But as far as competition, there are 70, probably, you probably know the number more than I do, because you're probably watching the incomers as you talked about earlier, but there's a lot of other lenders out there. It's not, this isn't like, let's all restrict it down to 2 or 3 lenders and have a, oligopoly or whatever it's called. But there's a lot of choices that are still out there. So, hey, it's just, you can't use these one, I think now, or these 2. Now I think it's just down to 1, if I remember hearing right. But yeah, it's, there's plenty of other places to go. And hey, we don't want them to go to the place where we know it is not good for their loans and their future. So that's the decision that we made all those years ago.
And one final question on this, and then we'll move on. We've been publishing a lot of stories at HousingWire about lawsuits that UWM has filed against brokers that are violating the all-in agreement. Is that a path that you will continue to take, where you'll file lawsuits against brokers that continue to violate that agreement?
Yeah, no, it's definitely not a focus of ours. It's not, we don't spend time like, oh, who's next, but we do continuously monitor it. And honestly, I haven't heard of a breach in a very, very long time for that. So hey, if something comes up, will we honor the all-in agreement again potentially? And we've been very successful in those lawsuits, as well as the counter suits that have come against us too. So it's again, looking back, it was a great decision, and we still stand by it. And I still do think it has a place in today's environment.
So the reason that I reached out to you originally, or reached out to Nicole, the very, very great person on your comms team who connects me with a lot of executives at UWM. I reached out because I was intrigued by your recent LinkedIn post about the TRAC Lite program at UWM. What is TRAC Lite? And tell us how it's going at UWM.
Yeah, thank you for that. And yes, Nicole is a superstar for sure. But I love Tracklight. I shared my history with you. My entry days in here was a lot of paper, a lot of fax machines, the curly purple kind. And it's one of my greatest passions has been watching the mortgage process develop, and UWM being a very big part of that, of like, how do we take out some of the friction of this like archaic, kind of dinosaur model that just moves so slowly, right? So, hey, we got a little digitized, which was great, got rid of the paper, and now there's doc management systems too. But my passion has always been about how do we make things faster, easier, cheaper, less complex. And I think, I've been no stranger to saying that there's issues with title. It is not the best way to do it. It is very expensive. I have learned so much about how they're regulated. Oh, you can't charge less. Like you're not allowed to give the consumer a deal. I mean, people act like it's like there's a cost minimum, like for buying liquor, right? It's like, why? Because we don't want people to buy too much, right? Hey, to have a cost minimum that you can't go below to give a consumer a better deal, like that's crazy to me. So Tracklight, there's been a lot of things that we've done in the title space. So we started with TRAC and our attorney opinion letters a while back to be able to save consumers money and to take out some of the friction from the housing industry. What TRAC Lite is a complete waiver of the lender's title policy, therefore no cost for the lender's title policy, something that's been required on all mortgages. I mean, as long as I've been doing it for the last 25 years, I'm sure it started well before I did. So all there is a closing fee. And there's no other junk in there. I think the max closing fee is, I think it's less than $400, somewhere in there.
That's big savings.
Yeah, it is. It is. So in a state like Texas, the average savings are, I think, almost $1,900 on our TRAC Lite so far. New Jersey is about, I think it's like $1,300. And then the rest of the states that we're in, the average comes out to be about $1,200 savings. That's just on the policy part too. That's just on the premium. And then to have like a fixed, predictable closing fee without all that. I mean, you should see the things that we see from title sometimes. It's, closing fee here, a courier fee here, a notary fee here, a email fee here. You just keep adding to it. So again, those savings are not even including that part of, kind of the non-insurance title fees that are in there. It's been a win. We're watching adoption go up all the time. It's been great. And I'm really proud of Fannie Mae for rolling this thing out. I think it's, everybody has been, I don't know, I'm not going to speak for everybody, but I think there's been some like, oh, don't mess with title. Like it's, too big of a monster and whatever. And it's nice to see that with the last couple of things, the use of an attorney opinion letter from years ago, and now something like TRAC Lite. It's great to see that progress, and it's saving consumers a lot of money. It's our partner's doing a great job in there. It's a much more frictionless process anyway. And I'm so lucky, so fortunate that we as UWM got to pilot this thing and be part of it. And it only makes our wholesale loans and our brokers even stronger by offering such a great cost savings and a great process with TRAC Lite.
You mentioned Fannie Mae, and this is their title waiver pilot, but this program has some pretty powerful enemies, especially in DC. Do you expect that this pilot will continue under the Trump administration?
I do. I mean, there is no downside to this thing at all. I have seen the data, the amount of title claims that exist on refinances is ridiculously low. I mean, they often quote the 3 to 4% overall, I think is what we've heard over the years of title claim versus the amount of insurance in general. But when you look at refinances, it doesn't exist. So to have this program to cover risk that's not really real and the price doesn't reflect how low the risk really is in real life, I do not see it going anywhere. That if the title industries, I don't know, I guess the harder they fight is often because there's more money to risk at hand. But if they truly had the goal in mind of, let me look at this from a risk standpoint, from a cost savings standpoint, and just doing right by people, I think even they'd say, wow, that's pretty cool. We should have done that years ago or participated in it too. But, unfortunately, I think there's way too much money in title and people are trying to protect that. And it's almost like the harder they fight, the more that there is to protect. But I think anybody who just looks at it in a very holistic way, you can't beat it. You can't beat it.
Yeah, I love that. And as a consumer of home buying and home selling, that title process is still pretty antiquated and paper driven. Yes. And there are other aspects of the home buying and home selling process that have some room for improvement from my perspective.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
So you look at the valuation process and the handoffs between mortgage and appraisal companies. That seems like another opportunity for improvement. Are you looking at those kinds of areas as you think about, smoothing out that whole process for the consumer?
Yeah, no, absolutely. In fact, years ago, I don't even know how many years ago it's been, we rolled out Appraisal Direct, which is basically UWM, panel of appraisals acting like an AMC, but it's us, right? So what we did is, we give the appraiser the full money. So what AMCs do, it's like, hey, you charge $500 for an appraisal. They keep $125. They give $375 to the appraiser. Like that's that's kind of what the AMC model did with appraisers years ago. So yeah, it was, one less spot of friction again, which you can tell I love getting rid of friction. So, it's us as UWM. It's not the broker going to a third party to order the appraisal. The high majority of our loans that need appraisals go through Appraisal Direct. So the product is great, but I love looking at things like that. We've never been let's go, acquire X to do it. Like if it makes sense to make the process, and again, faster, easier, cheaper, like anything, we'll look at anything to do it. We, the products now, appraisal waivers obviously have been in the market for a long time. Those are great. The kind of the ACE plus PDRs, those kind of like, hey, it's an appraisal waiver, but go collect some data for me. Happy to see that. That's wonderful. But I mean, if you can't tell, passionate on this one too. I'm like, they've been collecting data for, I don't know, I think it's 12 to 15 years now. Like the GSEs have so much more data than anybody else, than any appraiser or MLS or anybody could ever have. So it's great to be able to leverage that data and to be able to give consumers products where they don't have to take time and they don't have to take as much money. So that's been great progress.
Yeah, it's clear from your body language and your responses that this is a passion point for you. Yes. Are there other points of friction in the home buying process that UWM would like to smooth out that you're looking at right now?
Honestly, my main focus has just been on title.
Yeah.
I think that's a big one. I'm feeling pretty good in the appraisal space, and we talk to the GSEs a lot. Hey, what more can we do there? And they've made some good gains there. I love the kind of the virtual and hybrid. I think from a closing standpoint, again, I'm back from the days of come to my office as an originator, sign these documents in person in this big stack, make 3 copies of it. And that's what we're still doing in the closing space for the most part. But, we've done such a great job of it. We as a, industry, we've done such a great job of transitioning to upfront docs, right? Hey, if you applied for a mortgage with me yesterday, I sent out a package to you, you click, e-sign, like, okay, good to go. Where, you used to have to come to my office and sign those. And, a lot of focus on that final experience in the mortgage, which is that closing. How do we make that easier? Hey, really trying to leverage that same same kind of technology that we used up front for closing. Obviously, it's a little bit more difficult because you have to have a notary, and there's certain docs that need to be notarized. So a big focus for us on virtual closings, where we have a virtual notary. It's like a FaceTime. Like you sign a bunch of docs and then you say, hey, I'm ready to do my FaceTime with that notary. Click the button, notary comes on, you sign a few more docs together, and then you're done. You don't have to leave the house. You don't have to have the stranger walking into your house and being late and, oh, sorry, I'm on my way, notary person. So it's that's been a focus too. But we're always after any part of it, even if it's our own process. Like, how do we make you close better? How do we make submitting a loan easier? But yeah, those I think that's really the two big ones that are in there is just title and closing. Or
so last question.
Yeah.
You were a mortgage broker, but you've been in this executive seat for over a decade now. How do you get feedback from the mortgage brokers that work with UWM so that you're working on the issues as COO that are going to be meaningful for them?
Yeah, no, thank you for that question. It's a great one, and one that we've prided ourselves on for a lot of years. So whether it's feedback from team members or from brokers, we have advisory councils. We have for our internal people what we call brilliant ideas. We rolled out broker brilliant ideas before. Hey, put your idea on a website, in our site, let people vote on them. So we get a lot of data that way. But our advisory councils have been really key to doing a lot of the things that we've done. In fact, we just had one last week, and all of us executives are sitting in that room. We're hearing firsthand what it is that the brokers need, and we all have a meeting afterward, decide, okay, this is what they ask for most. How do we get these things done? And I think that's feedback, I would say, is the most important part to a successful business. Like if you're not making your product better and better and better, that's why, go back to, hey, you got some new entrants coming into wholesale. You worried about it? Nope, not worried about it, because we have such a great pulse on our brokers and what they need. I call them myself all the time too. I'm like, hey, you haven't used TRAC Lite yet. Tell me what's going on. And they're like, well, we'll try it tomorrow. So we're no strangers to calling out. Everybody's got, every broker's got my email address, Matt's email address. We're very available because we want to hear that next great idea and be a partner with them. So constantly listening to their needs and their wants and rolling things out. Because we have our own technology team inside, we can move those things really quickly.
So I lied. One last question. So not only has UWM been growing its share in wholesale, but the wholesale channel has been growing its share overall within origination. Do you see that trend continuing this year and into 2026?
I do. I think, just a continued realization that, honestly, the wholesale channel gives brokers so much control, right? I think there's a lot of myths in the retail world about what it's like to be at a wholesaler. And we have seen an amazing shift. And, back when I was originating, I think we were doing more than 50% of the business as wholesale brokers. And I love watching that number tick up each year that I'm here, and to try and get back into that space. We know that wholesale is the best deal for the consumer, like hands down, the best experience, and really the people that care the most. Mortgage brokers care about what they're doing and about serving their client well. So yeah, they're doing an amazing job. We're fully committed to helping them grow in any way that we possibly can, whether it's training, helping train realtors, spreading information out there, and really creating a sense of community. I'd say that's one of the things that didn't exist back when I was a broker. It was like, hey, you were kind of a lone wolf on your own, and there were a couple associations which were awkward and weird. But UWM has done, it was something I'm very proud of, has done such a great job of making a true community. A family of brokers out there that we rely on each other, and we're getting more and more powerful. And I can see that growing in the market share as we either bring new entrants into the mortgage market, or watching a lot of crossover from used to be retail coming into wholesale, realizing that, wow, my rates were really high in retail. My fees were awful. It's like, it's much easier to sell a wholesale good product than that more difficult retail thing. So yeah, we look forward to it. We'll continue to support it and keep it our main focus as it's been for years.
Well, Melinda, I really appreciate your transparency and your obvious passion for wholesale and the industry overall. It's been great talking with you today. Thank you so much for joining me on Powerhouse.
Thanks for having me. It was a pleasure. Have a great day.